There's no flavor without salt. We previously covered Asin Tibuok in Bohol. Now allow us to tell you the story of another rare Filipino artisanal salt, the Ahin or Asean Sabuiyo, a culinary gem at the center of a struggling industry. Salt isn't just in food, it's also crucial for the pharmaceutical to manufacturing industries. In 1995, the Act for Salt Iodization Nationwide, or Asin Law, was passed. It mandated that all food-grade salt in the Philippines be iodized, and that was applied to the entire salt industry, including small-scale salt makers. From almost 100% salt self-sufficiency, we went down to 20%. Today, we import 91 to 93% of our requirements. Not only did many farmers lose their livelihoods, the country also lost a big part of its culture. This gives way to the urgent and pressing need to support the local salt industry and consequently our heritage sea salt makers and producers. There are many ways of harvesting local salt, and it varies from one province to another. In Zambales, they have Asean Sabuiyo, a traditionally harvested sea salt that comes in a buyo, a woven basket made from pawid or palm, bamboo, and rattan mixed together that's both sturdy and completely biodegradable. Today, Asean Sabuiyo is produced by the locals in the Panayunan community at the Sambali Beach Farm. But their story began over 120 years ago when Nicholas Camara acquired a piece of land for harvesting and trading rice.
Based on our family records, my great-grandfather, Nicholas Camara, purchased this property, which at that time was 21 hectares, in 1888. After he purchased it, he wanted to make it productive and figured the best way was like through a partnership with the local families.
At the turn of the century, the land would be used to gather salt. Through this partnership, Nicholas Camara divided the 1-hectare salt beds into 25 families in the area, with each family tending to 500 square meters. Under the Fair Trade Agreement, Camara received 25% of the profits, while the farmers got the rest of the 75%, and were allowed to sell their harvests in whichever way they saw fit.
Baliya maganda, ginawa ni tatay, kinalibutan, alal kawayan, tinam na masitas, tinam na gulay, lumahil mana, ang tinay tatay. Mga kasamahan ko po dito sa Panayunan, si Nanay Edith, tapos si Nanay Ebue po, si Nanay Ebue, tapos yung anak ko po si Mae. Kami po yung magkakasama po dito sa Panayunan.
Today, Nanay Editha, who descends from pioneering salt makers, continues to preserve the tradition as she works with the Samampa, a group of salt makers and fishermen in Botolan, Zambales.
9 na taong gulang po ako, nagluluto po yung lola at lola ko, kasamang nanay ko, kasama po ako dyan, nakikigulo-gulo, hanggang natuto na rin po akong nagluto ng asin. Pag wala na po siyang asin, nakuha na po natin lahat.
Lalagyan uli ng tubig.
Sumasama po ako, naghahakot po ako ng lupa, lalaro din po paminsan-minsan, kasi po, paghapon gusto ko po nandito ako kasi po marami pong bago na nagpupunta rito, nagbebenta ng mga kakanin. Pinapalitan po namin ng asin. Isang gatang na asin, tapos isang putong malaki. Kaya pagdating po ng hapon, talaga nandito na po ako. Kasi inaabang ko yung pagkain. Matakaw po kasi ako 5 po ang anak ko, nakapaaral po ako kahit papaano, yung pong bunso ko. Malaking pong tulong sa akin yung pag-aasin.
Like Nanay Editha, Nanay Helen is a generational salt maker. She learned to harvest it from her mother in 1968.
Ano yun, yung mga dalagita pa ako, mami. Talagang nagluluto talaga kami. Hanggang sa nagkaroon na po ng pamilya, ito na rin po yung ano namin ng mag-asawa. Kami na rin po yung nagluto po dito. Kahit po may trabaho yung asawa ko, andito pa rin po ako sa panayunan. Hanggang ngayon po, kahit wala na siya, talagang hanggang kaya ko po magluluto ako. Ganun po.
The long and arduous process of making Asean Sabuiyo starts with lining the tatabagan or the V-shaped contraption with ashes. Once the tide reaches the mangrove, the seawater-infused mud is tediously gathered by the asinderos in the tatabagan. After filling it with more mud, more fresh water from the mangroves is poured to filter out the precious salt water that slowly drips into the pahig. Asinderos then cook the salt water the whole day to produce a pure, fine sea salt full of minerals.
Magkakaroon po yan ng asin sa gitna. Pag nagkaroon na po siya ng asin, may tubig po siya ng mga kaunti lang. Pakaibabaw na po yung asin. Ahanguin na po namin siya, ma'am.
While that's being made, they start weaving the Buyo or sisidlan, a tradition that conveniently answers today's issues with the overuse of plastic packaging.
Magpapawid ako, gagawa ako ng pawid. Hanggang 7 piraso yan, ma'am. Ang haba, halos isang kawayan. Ito at saka yun, ang punong yun. 2 araw yan, ma'am, gawin. Pagkatapos yun, iatip na, ma'am. Pag nahango na yun, ilagay na sa tiklis. O, ilagay na po dito sa may init yung asin.
Nakita nyo naman po kung paano namin ginawa. Napakahirap po talaga. Talagang pagod po. Pawis po talaga. Nasa tao nga po yan. Pero napakalaki pong tulong.
Malaking tulong po kasi ang una-una rin po nating pangangailangan asin, ma'am. Hindi ka naman makaluto ng pagkain mo kung walang asin. Hindi naman pwede yung pati silang at tuyo.
At present, the second-generation descendants of the original 25 families continue to work with Philip Camara, Nicholas Camara's great-great-grandson, and his wife, Ching.
We had this piece of property that we bought from Philip's aunt, and we decided to build a beach house, right? So we built this house. And then I got to know the community around. I found out because they sent me as a gift packaged salt. So I said, wow, this is so nice, right? Since I was attached to the organic market in Makati, so I'll order salt from you, and then if you can package it that way. And then, so I would order a lot of salt, and then they produced it, and then I would sell it in Manila, so it became very popular.
With orders coming in, aging salt makers like Nanay Editha needed all the help they could get. Luckily, some of them have children who are willing to learn about the family tradition.
Nagsimula po ako, tinuruan po ako ng nanay ko po kung paano po gumawa po ng lagayan ng asin. Tinitingnan ko din po kung paano po ang pagluluto po niya ng asin. Hanggang sa natutunan ko na rin po. Proud po ako kasi ito na po yung ng magulang ko sa amin.
There is so much promise in Asin Buyo, yet the tradition hangs by a thread as the salt makers are reaching their twilight years and there are less young people like Mae who are willing to continue the art, seeking opportunities elsewhere.
Sana nga po, yung mga kabataan, matuto rin po sana sila. Kasi po paunti-unti na lang po kami nagluluto ng asin ngayon. Bali, 4 na lang pong nagluluto ng asin. Kasi po sa kahirapan din po magluto, sumuko-suko po yung iba.
Ay, oo nga. Wala na kayo akong alam. Puro na kayo cellphone. Wala na kayong ano ba ako yan. Paggising nyo sa umaga, cellphone na. Sabi ko sa mga, doon sa apo ko rin, ma'am, talagang araw-araw yan, nakakarinig sila sa akin.
Hello!
Gagawa ko ma'am hanggang kaya ko. Pinapatigil na nga ako ma'am ng kuya ko eh. Sabi niya sa akin, sabi niya, wag ka nang magluto ng asin at mahirap, matanda ka na. Sabi niya sa akin, hindi ka ko magluluto ako hanggang kaya ko. Kasi ano naman ang gawin ko sa bahay.
To say that local salt is important isn't romanticizing it. It's a national food security issue, and without it, the Philippines will be vulnerable to full supply chain crisis. The Asin law is still in effect today, and one has to wonder why a recommendation from 1995 is still in effect today, even though the law proved to be a trade impediment and has led to the fall of the Philippine salt industry. Surely iodine deficiency in households, which is in a steady decline, can be addressed in ways that doesn't need to penalize salt farmers.
Smile! Smile ka! Ay, nakatalikod ka! Sorry ka naman!